Hello, beautiful, and welcome back. So if you are new to your journey of financial freedom and building real wealth, then you're probably in a similar position to where I was several years ago. So you're smart, you're capable, ambitious, probably making pretty good income already, but maybe you're still questioning, when does it all work out? Or if it will all work out? Or am I on the right path? I know this because I lived through it myself. I was over a decade climbing the corporate ladder, seeking external validation, approval, safety, all from outside of myself. And I left all of that to build my own business and actually teach others how to build wealth from the inside out. And that's exactly what I do here at the Witch of Wall Street. Now, I've just turned 36, and in honor of my birthday, I want to share with you 5 of the biggest lessons that when I reflect back over the last 15, 16 years of my adulthood have actually been the biggest, most transformational ones for me. And these are the lessons that I wish someone had taught me well over a decade ago so that I didn't have to learn the hard way. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you these lessons, 5 to be exact, so that hopefully that you can learn from them, avoid some of the common pitfalls, and actually accelerate your journey in your wealth building as well. One of the most important lessons I learned, and it really took me a surprisingly long time for this to drop in, is nobody is coming to save you. There is no Prince Charming coming into your life to rescue you. And I don't care what gender you are, where you're from, where in the world you're living, that is true. You are the creator, the manifester of your own life. So step into the role of the star, the director, the producer, the creator of this movie called your life. All right, don't be the backup, don't be the extra waiting for someone to come in and put the story together and fill in the gaps. How this came out for me was that even though I studied finance at uni, had spent a decade working in corporate finance, was a chartered accountant, right, in the top 10% of my country, everything logically, right, in my conscious mind was saying, yes, I am empowered, I am smart, I am good with money. There was still a subconscious belief, and I call this almost like the Disney belief, that someday a Prince Charming type person, my man, would arrive in my life and just figure out all the finances, figure out the money stuff, and that would just be an area of my life I wouldn't have to really think about. Now, I know on paper that actually sounds totally insane, and you might be looking at me going, all right, I've lost her already. But when I actually began to dig deep into my own belief system, and this was work that I've done, since I was about 19, when I really got into personal development, I began to uncover some of these hidden beliefs there. And so even though consciously I would say, no, of course I don't think that way, I'm not waiting for some Prince Charming to arrive in my life, how I was turning up, how I was managing my money, how I was planning for my future, how I was planning for my family, for retirement, definitely was influenced by this hidden belief that somebody else would really be taking a leading role in that. So I share that to remind you that you have to be the star of your own show. And especially when I see it coming to finances, this is not an area of your life you want to outsource. Now, again, I don't care what gender you are. You might have the smartest, savviest partner in your life. Still, do not outsource this part of your life. It just creates so much trouble, so much difficulty. And having now coached people from all over the world, I've seen where this has gone wrong too many times, right? Be in control. Be a partner, especially if you're married and you're sharing finances. Don't be a backseat passenger to this part of your life. And if you're single, definitely don't be a backseat passenger waiting for someone to come fix this. So this is your reminder that you are the creator of your life. You are the manifester in your life, and you get to rewrite that script anytime you want. Now, if money is something that you're struggling with and you're really struggling with some money stories that you might have that are not supporting that journey, be sure to check out my 5-day complete money story rewrite kit. Super powerful, really punchy. In just 5 days, we're going to do a complete rewrite of that story from a belief point of view and a nervous system point of view. So it's really awesome. Go check it out. I'll link it down below in the description. So the second key lesson that I've learned time and time again, and my goodness, does this turn up to be so true? You are your greatest asset. Yes, you are your greatest asset. And I mean that above and beyond everything else, because you will pay the most dividends in your life. You will give yourself the best return of investment. Investing in you is an investment with infinite potential returns, right? Because you are an infinite being. And so as much as I love talking about investing in the stock market, because yes, you can compound your wealth and it's awesome, it is not to the same extent in which investing in you can produce the level of results that are mind-blowing. Now, I've seen this in my own journey. The moment I started to invest in myself, and this was back when I was 18, 19, this was just reading books, the law of attraction books, and I saw things begin to slightly change. Things blew up in the best way possible back around 2015 when I was like mid-20s, and I invested on a much bigger scale to go fly to Toronto, immerse myself in this, cocoon almost of personal development, learning about the science of getting rich. And the results and the acceleration of my results after that were extraordinary. And I've seen it time and time again. When I continuously invest in myself, my results are incredible. And in those periods where I have stopped investing in myself and I have taken a step back and I'm no longer really prioritizing or obsessed with this growth, this personal growth, personal development, my external results reflect that. And if I literally draw a timeline through the past 15 years, I can see from my results, where have I invested previously to that? Now, it's really key to understand that when we're talking about investing in ourselves, it's not just because it feels good, which it does, and it's not just because it gives awesome results, which it does, but it's also because you cannot out-earn a broken mindset. So if you are someone who's really passionate about building wealth, building financial freedom, really wants to get rich and is claiming that and owning that because you've done some work maybe already and you know that wanting to be rich, desiring to be rich is not a greedy thing. It's not a bad thing. It's your birthright. And if you've read The Science of Getting Rich, which we've done a review on, you'll know that too. But you cannot out-earn a broken mindset. So we've got to invest in our mind. We've got to reprogram any faulty wiring in there, any conditioning that we picked up from our childhood, any stories that are telling us that we can't. Now, for example, I grew up in a family incredibly loving, but didn't come from particular wealth, didn't have a financial education, didn't know how to build wealth. The idea of investing was kind of ludicrous, laughable. If I hadn't gone on a journey of actually investing with myself, I would have never achieved the level which I have and which I'm continuing to go on. Because even now, I know I'm just scratching the surface of what is still available. And so the more I work on myself, the more I see this, which is your bank balance will never exceed your self-worth. And your income will always catch up to your identity. So you have like a financial thermostat of where you think you are on the scale of earning as to what you think you're worthy of. And if you go above it, you'll find ways to sabotage it. If you go below it, you'll find ways to pick up more money. And so doing this inner work is so important because it is directly reflected in our bank account as well. And so often when I'm talking to people and I hear them say, oh, I'd love to do this. Like when I was hosting a retreat in Mexico, I'd love to go, but I can't afford it. So often what that means really, it's a disguise for, I don't think I'm worth it. And so what I always invite people to say is, instead of getting stuck in the idea of I can't afford it, ask first, is it aligned? Right, before jumping into I can't, ask, is this aligned with what I actually want? Like, is this a definite yes? And if it is, then how can I make this happen? Because if it's a no, then it's easy. We don't even have to go down the I can't afford it route. But if it's a yes, it's a how do I make this happen? Now you open yourself up to opportunities and potential. And so to summarize this point, it's really to say investing in yourself will give you the biggest return. And sometimes it can feel risky because you don't know what the exact outcome will be. But I can tell you from time and time again, in my own experience, having worked with so many different people, investing in you is something that you will always reap the biggest dividends from. Okay, so the next lesson, which I know you're gonna love because I certainly do, is that generational wealth is just one brave decision away. Yes, you may not have come from wealth, but you can be the person to break that pattern, to break that lineage, and to actually set yourself and your family up for great wealth so that your money outlives you, so that your family are taken care of, so that you can build a financial legacy. And it is one decision away. You can be the trailblazer. You can be the one to break the cycle. And that is the most exciting thing to think about, that you're not just becoming financially empowered for yourself, but what it can do for your loved ones, your family, and actually rewriting a new story for the future. Look, if you came from a background or a family of scarcity, whether that was financial scarcity as in there was no money in the bank, they couldn't afford to put food on the table, or it was more of an emotional scarcity of We had money, we never wanted for anything, but there was a real sense of scarcity in terms of mindset, of always being afraid to spend or thinking that rich people were greedy. So if you've come from that background of scarcity, that is not your fault, right? You didn't get to choose really what you were born into, but it is your damn responsibility to change that. Because no matter what money beliefs you inherited, whether it was money is the root of all evil, if I get too much money, people are going to want to take it from me, people are going to look at me different, I'll be outcast, I'm afraid of success, if I want more money, I'm greedy, I'm a bad person. Whatever the list of beliefs are that you've inherited, they are not permanent. You have the power right now to actually go and rewire them. And as I mentioned, we have a 5-day program. In just 5 days, you can go on that journey to rewrite your money story. Again, I'll link that program down below in the description, the complete 5-day money story rewrite kit. I created this especially because I've seen how powerful it is when people rewrite their money beliefs, rewrite their money stories, and actually eliminate the old conditioning that's been holding them back. So just remember this, you can love your parents as I do. They are incredible people and I'm so grateful for them. Now just let that one sink in. You can love them, but reject their beliefs. They do not have to become your beliefs, become your truth, become your story and your life. You have the power and you have the opportunity to write a new story for yourself. So take that brave decision, be the trailblazer, and be the one who decides, you know what, I'm going to write the most empowering financial story for me, for those around me, and I'm going to build wealth off the back of it. Now, this next lesson is one that I definitely learned the hard way, so please take this on board and do not fall into the same trap. But you cannot manifest abundance from a nervous system that is wired in scarcity. So if your nervous system does not feel safe around money, if you are constantly in fight or flight, if you are in survival mode, it is near impossible to manifest abundance or any riches or any increase in wealth into your life. And even if by chance it slips in, it will very quickly flow back out. So in order to really attract wealth, to keep wealth, to feel worthy enough and have the identity where we think that can be me who has that, I deserve to be rich, I am born to be rich, being rich is available for me, it is my right to be rich, to really feel that, we've got to get our nervous system on board. I've shared in other videos where I did not do this work. I did not know about nervous system work when I first started my business. And I attracted massive amounts of money in and I quickly pushed it back out again because my nervous system was not up to date with it. I didn't feel worthy of holding that much money in such a short space of time. And it was insane when I looked at it because consciously, again, of course I want that money. Look what I can do with it. That's amazing. But subconsciously, it felt unfamiliar. It felt uncertain. And our nervous system, bless it, is literally wired to keep us safe. So even though we might be cursing it out, saying, why would it do that? Its intention is actually to keep us safe. And so unless we're working with our nervous system to upgrade it so that it feels safe to hold a new level of wealth, then it will just continuously either reject, or if it allows it in, it will then push back out any new wealth, any real abundance of your life. So if, like me, when I first started out, you're new to the idea of nervous system regulation, like I had no idea what it was, you might be more familiar with terms like the subconscious mind, right? Or belief work. And so they're very intricately linked. And so when we're doing subconscious work, we can be doing our nervous system work together. It's why I have videos on this channel around tapping. That is all nervous system regulation. That is allowing us to shift our beliefs. Because if we keep doing the same things, if we keep thinking the same thoughts, we're going to keep getting the same results. And we're going to wonder why what we want to manifest isn't coming into our life. We've got to make a pattern interrupt. We've got to make a deeper inner shift so things on the outside begin to change. And remember, being busy does not mean you were building or does not mean you were changing. There was many times in my business where I was very busy. I was turning up and I was doing lots of stuff, but I was making no progress. Now, no surprise, these were the same periods of time where I had taken a step back from really investing in myself, from working with coaches or attending seminars or retreats or events, right? I was kind of going alone. And as a result, was falling back into old patterns, right? Falling back into old ways of thinking, old ways of doing, becoming back down into homeostasis with those around me. right? So you've got to have a very strong network, a very strong environment around you that will keep you at that level at least if you're not continuously investing. And so for me, what I have found is the best solution is just continuously invest in myself. Then I continue to grow. So regardless of my current environment, who's around me, I am putting myself intentionally into containers and masterminds and coaching groups that I am with people playing the game at a higher level. So I'm constantly been pulling myself up, because wealth, just like anything, it is a frequency you can tune into. And if you're doing that energy work and you're calming your nervous system and you're creating safety around wealth, that truly is an energy and an identity that is unstoppable, no matter what your vision, no matter what your goal is. Now, the last lesson is something that when I look back at my 20s, I kind of cringe a little bit. I love my 20-year-old self because she was really ambitious, really driven, and so naive in so many ways. Bless her. I think her naivety got her through a lot of things. But wealth is quietly confident. It is not loud. And I definitely had that back to front, right? Growing up in Cork, I thought to be wealthy, to be rich, meant you were finally able to go into Brown Thomas, which was the big store back in Ireland. We didn't even have a Louis Vuitton store or a Gucci store in Cork. They all were under one department store. But when I moved to London and I was manifesting this big career and I was all of a sudden jet setting around the world and I was making all this extra money, I thought, well, the next step to do is to go and buy the designer pieces, to buy my Rolex and to buy the designer bags. Now, if I was doing those things because I truly just loved the brand, the quality, the history of the company, or I just loved the style of it, kudos, go do that, like if that is your thing. However, I was definitely doing those things from a place of, how does this make me look? I thought I was now presenting myself as a successful person. I was buying these things because I thought that's what rich people did. I was investing in these items because I thought that's what would make me look successful. And so I was doing it for the external validation again, not because internally it was aligned with my values or aligned with my financial goals or was going to get me to my ideal place of financial freedom. Not at all. And throughout that journey, it was an important lesson because if I hadn't had the experience, I probably never would have got the lesson. But being able to buy all these things, and I traveled around the world with my work, so I'd pick up a new Louis Vuitton bag in Singapore, and then I'd be over in Sydney and I would buy, the belt to go with it or a scarf to go with it or something else. And right, so I was picking up these really cool pieces from all around the world and quite a little collection going for myself. And so really when I got the wake up call was that I was away for a weekend once when I was living in London and my whole apartment got robbed. I have no idea what happened, never to this day found out. I have my suspicions. But my wardrobe, where all my handbags were, the belts, the scarves, all the jewelry that were the designer pieces, was all cleared out. My computer, everything else, there was money sitting there, it was untouched. So it really, I felt, looking through it, a spiritual lens, was a real lesson of what did any of this actually mean for me? And realizing, quite frankly, that I was attaching so much of my self-worth to these things that when I would put on the belt or I'd put on the bag, I would walk out in the world with a bit more confidence because I thought, oh, now people will know that I've made it financially. And so when I really began to look at that through this slightly painful or actually very painful experience of being broken into, it really made me challenge my belief system and it really made me challenge my values. And how do I want to use my money? Do I really want to spend it on things that someone will break into my house to take? And just like that, they're gone. And with it, half of my self-worth and self-identity out the door? Or do I want to spend it more in alignment with my actual values? And so in a strange way, it was a bit of a blessing in disguise because it made me really reprioritize, what do I want to use my money for? And so I went on this whole journey of realizing I was definitely spending money for external validation. And really, I came back to purpose, values, and intentional spending. And so this really set me down the road of managing my money smartly. It was very much the foundation for a lot of what I teach at the Witch of Wall Street around personal finance and around investing. So spending in alignment with your values, realizing that budgeting isn't about restriction. It's actually about creating real financial freedom for yourself. investing so that you don't have to be the employee for the rest of your life, that you can make money your employee to go to work for you and to make you money. And that investing isn't risky, but staying in a financial trap, staying in scarcity, staying in lack actually is very risky. And so these experiences completely altered my whole viewpoint, my whole mindset around money. And I kind of wish I had got this so much earlier in my 20s, because the amount of money that I had spent on designer pieces was a little bit ludicrous. But hey, some lessons just are more expensive to learn in life. So today, while yes, I still enjoy some nice pieces for sure, I'm more intentional with spending my money on quality time with my family, creating really memorable experiences, holidays, being able to take flights to go visit my parents, investing in my business, investing in my personal development, investing in my education, and then investing in the stock market, of course, making sure my finances are up to date, and creating a situation where money is my friend. Money works for me, it provides for me, and actually also going on a journey of finding a massive amount of self-worth, redefining my own identity, reshaping it, and finding a sense of self-love that is no longer determined on what I have, how much money I have, or what other people think about me. And I can tell you from experience, that is a much more empowering place to be, and it's a much more unshakable place to be, because nobody can take that from me. Now, I can tell you, going through some of these big transitions in my life was not always easy. You know, when I think back to 2015, when I invested big to fly over to Toronto and work with my mentor at the time, people thought I was crazy, but people are going to judge you anyway. They're going to judge you for changing. Change anyway. Do what you want to do. And I can tell you, it is never too late to become the wealthy version of you that you were born to be, to become the version of you that gets to live life in accordance with your terms, in accordance with how you want to live. And the minute you drop that desire or that need for external validation, external approval, the minute you start to create safety and self-worth and self-love inside out, your whole world begins to change. And that really starts with investing in yourself, realizing no one's going to come to save you because they don't have to. You are the creator. You are a powerful manifester. You get to write the script of your life. It starts by taking a brave decision to be the one to break the financial patterns, to be the one who steps up and says, I want more, and be confident and have conviction in that, and forget what anybody else is going to say about you, because the only person that really matters what they say about you is what you're going to say to yourself when you look in the mirror. Now, if you want to start that journey of rewriting your money story, as I mentioned, the link down below is in the description of the complete 5-day money story rewrite kit. It's really phenomenal. I've put a lot of love and a lot of energy into creating something that was going to be easy to use. You only need about 15 to 20 minutes a day, but it's going to provide really powerful results for you. So be sure you go and check that out. And remember, you're not behind, maybe you're just beginning. So continue this journey with me. Come check out our next video over here, and I'll see you there.